Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone. Before we get to today's video, we wanted to announce that Crime Zone's official Patreon page is now live. In addition to ad-free videos and other extras, patrons will also get access to weekly bonus videos for our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International series. So if you want even more Crime Zone content, head over to patreon.com/crimezone for exclusive cases not featured in today's video. Authorities in Florida's Miami-Dade County say that the recent Surfside condo collapse that claimed the lives of 98 people has taken another dark turn this week, after a trio of thieves were arrested for stealing the identities of several of the victims. The suspects have been identified as 30-year-old Betsy Alejandra Cacho Medina, 38-year-old Rodney Chute, and 34-year-old Kimberly Michelle Johnson. According to reports, they allegedly stole the identities of 7 different victims of the building collapse, 5 of whom are deceased and 2 of whom survived the terrifying tragedy. The trio of so-called cyber grave robbers were able to steal a total of $45,000, which was either taken from the victims' accounts directly or charged to fraudulently obtained credit cards in their names. They tried to steal an additional $67,000 this way, but were unsuccessful. Authorities began to catch on to the despicable scheme after one of the victims' sisters noticed bizarre changes to her sister's financial accounts and personal information. Someone had changed her mailing address and had requested new credit cards be delivered there. There were also multiple fraudulent wire transfers from the deceased woman's bank account to other accounts. The sister quickly notified the Surfside Police Department, who began an investigation. Authorities soon uncovered a spree of fraudulent purchases on the credit cards at stores like Target and Nordstrom. They managed to catch a lucky break when one of the suspects was captured on video surveillance leaving a mall with one of the purchases and driving away in a Mercedes. The vehicle was registered to Betsy Medina. The trio of thieves were quickly tracked down and arrested from there, and remain in police custody at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center. They have now been charged with organized scheme to defraud, multiple counts of identity fraud, as well as numerous other felonies. Authorities in Georgia's Athens, Clark County say that an armed and dangerous man is in police custody following a shooting attack that wounded 7 people early last week. The incident took place just before 2 a.m. on Sunday, September 5th, in the area of East Clayton Street and North Jackson Street in downtown Athens. It happened after a large fight broke out and a man shot wildly into the crowd. The suspect was quickly identified as 21-year-old Pharaoh Devanell Williams, and several warrants were issued for his arrest. Though Williams managed to escape the scene of the shooting, he turned himself in a day later. Thankfully, none of the 7 victims of the crime were killed as a result of the attack. All of them were rushed to the hospital, where they were treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Williams has now been charged with 7 counts of aggravated assault and 1 count of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. His bond was set at $10,000. Authorities in Houston, Texas say that a man is dead this week after he was shot by a terrified homeowner who said that she saw the man peering into her bedroom window. According to reports, the suspected Peeping Tom incident took place around 11:15 p.m. on September 10th in the area of Irvington Boulevard and Knight Street on the city's north side. After seeing a strange man looking through her bedroom window, the woman became concerned for her safety, grabbed her rifle, and shot through the wall several times. The man was hit at least once in the torso and attempted to flee the property, but collapsed on the woman's driveway after a few steps. He was pronounced dead by officers who responded to the scene. At the current time, authorities say that the homeowner is cooperating with their investigation, and no charges have been laid against her. Neither she nor the alleged perpetrator have been identified, but it is said that the two did not know one another. Authorities in Wichita, Kansas say that one person is dead this week and 5 others are injured, following a chilling shootout at a local nightclub. According to reports, the incident began around midnight on the morning of September 8th, when 23-year-old Kashawn Dawson was asked to leave the Enigma Club and Lounge after getting into a fight. The 23-year-old complied, but returned a short time later and began to fire multiple rounds through the club's windows and front door. One of the shots struck and killed 34-year-old Preston Spencer, a married father of 2 who had just celebrated his son's 5th birthday last week. 5 women between the ages of 22 and 40 were also hit in the hail of gunfire. They reportedly sustained serious injuries, but are expected to survive. Immediately following the shooting, Dawson fled the scene in a dark-colored vehicle, which was being driven by someone else. Authorities were able to determine that he was the shooter thanks to surveillance footage from the club and surrounding businesses, as well as interviews with witnesses. At the time of this recording, Dawson remains at large and is considered to be armed and dangerous. He was already wanted at the time of the shooting on 2 felony arrest warrants. Police say that they are still investigating whether there was any relationship between Dawson and any of the victims. Authorities in Broward County, Florida say that a Chicago woman was arrested and is facing charges this week after she fabricated a bomb threat at a local airport because she was angry that she had missed her flight. The incident began on the night of Monday, September 6th, when 46-year-old Marina Verbitsky arrived at the Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport with her husband and son. After being informed by JetBlue employees that she and her family had arrived too late to catch their flight because it was already being taxied on the runway, Verbitsky flew into a rage. The mother began by berating employees, hurling insults at them, and going on a profanity-laden tirade. However, according to reports, it was when she learned that her family's checked luggage was already on board the departing plane that the 46-year-old truly snapped. Instead of taking a second to try and calm down or consider her options, Verbitsky allegedly decided to ratchet up the tense situation even further, telling staff that she had stashed a bomb in one of her suitcases. Though the threat was completely bogus, officials were still forced to treat the claim as a credible threat, and the plane was rerouted, evacuated, and thoroughly searched to ensure everyone's safety. When no sign of any danger was found, Verbitsky was promptly arrested and is now facing a charge of false reporting concerning planting a bomb, explosive, or weapon of mass destruction. A judge also ordered that she undergo a mental health evaluation. A friend of the family, who requested to remain anonymous, told local media that Verbitsky's outburst and fake threat were the result of her being worried about her son missing school the next day, saying, quote, "It was a mistake." This week, representatives from Louisiana's Slidell Police Department announced the outcome of a bizarre recent hit-and-run case that ended with the alleged victim of the crime facing charges instead of the driver. According to reports, the incident began around 4 p.m. on September 3rd, when officers were called to the scene of an apparent hit-and-run by 47-year-old Arthur Bates Jr. Bates told police that he had been hit by a Tesla driver who was backing up in a busy gas station parking lot, and alleged that the driver had fled the scene following the accident. When authorities arrived, Bates complained of back, leg, and neck injuries, resulting in an ambulance and fire truck being sent to the location. However, when Slidell police found and spoke to the Tesla driver, Bates' story completely unraveled. It turned out that he had intentionally jumped behind the vehicle to stage the accident. Unbeknownst to him, Teslas record all of the footage from their built-in cameras. Once the video was revealed, it was obvious what Bates had done. Bates subsequently admitted to fabricating the event and was arrested. He has since been charged with 1 count of false swearing with the intent to cause an emergency response. A tense standoff between authorities and an armed 18-year-old suspect took a bizarre turn this week when a nude, intoxicated woman dangerously drove through the middle of the scene in a golf cart. According to reports, the incident took place on the morning of Sunday, September 5th, when authorities tried to deal with 18-year-old Miles Abbott, who had climbed onto the roof of a residence in Dunedin and pointed his weapon at police. The tense situation caused the SWAT team to be called in, leading to an hours-long standoff. It was sometime during that situation that 28-year-old Boston resident Jessica Elizabeth Smith allegedly showed up driving a golf cart. Completely naked and smelling strongly of alcohol, Smith blew past several squad cars and ignored calls for her to leave the area as she drove into the perimeter where the standoff was happening and close to the house where Abbott was taking shelter. Smith was eventually taken into custody and charged with resisting an officer without violence. Abbott was also captured by police when the 6-hour standoff came to an end and was treated for a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his leg that he reportedly got while attempting to flee. He faces multiple charges, including loitering and prowling, aggravated assault on law enforcement, felon in possession of a firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, resisting an officer without violence, and grand theft. Authorities in East St. Louis say that 3 men are in custody this week after a shooting left numerous people injured and led to a citywide curfew. According to reports, the terrifying incident unfolded in the area of 6th Street and Martin Luther King Drive around 4 p.m. on September 9th, when the 3 suspects opened fire on several people. A total of 7 people were shot, including a 3-year-old boy. All of the victims were transported to the hospital and are said to be alive, though no additional updates have been given about their condition. Following the shooting, a vehicle slammed into a Metrolink commuter train, injuring an additional 10 people. At the time of this recording, sources contradict each other on the nature of the collision, with some saying that the vehicle was a getaway car driven by the 3 suspects, while others allege that the vehicle belonged to one of the victims of the shooting, who crashed after being injured. When the suspects managed to escape the scene of the crime, authorities issued a citywide curfew between midnight and 6 a.m. This continued even after the men were tracked to the basement of a partially demolished building at around 2:30 a.m. on Friday morning and arrested. The suspects have since been identified as 35-year-old D'Angelo Higgs, 30-year-old Cartez Beard, and 32-year-old Lorenzo Bruce Jr. Each has been charged with 7 counts of aggravated battery/discharge of a firearm and felony possession of weapons. At the current time, police are still investigating the situation. They say that it appears the crime was targeted, but have not released any potential motive. That's it for this edition of Crimes of the Week. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.